On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder wasted an opportunity in Game 3. They have to respond in Game 4, but they also have to change their mindset. We'll talk about it all on today's show.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Ryland Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Ryland_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're diving into the Thunder just blowing an opportunity in Game 3, flipping the script Indiana did against OKC, how the Thunder must improve, respond, and change their identity. All on today's show. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Go download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Look, this was a Game 3 that is a swing game for any series. I mean, when it's 1-1, Game 3 is the first time that you really gain control, whoever ends up winning it. And both these teams coming in had been bad in Game 3s. And Indiana has played them all at home, and they were 0-3, -14. OKC, not any better. 1-2 with that one win coming with a miracle comeback against the Grizzlies, and they were -15 in that setting, largely due to the lopsided loss against Minnesota. And the Thunder knew that all they had to do was split in Indiana, just like Indiana split in OKC. But if the Thunder get this split and they win in Game 4, it's now a best of 3 and you have 2 games at home, and it kind of changes the dynamic of the series. It swings it back to OKC. But when you look at this game, the part where it's hard to rest your hat on the fact that the Thunder can still do their job if they win Friday, it's because of how it flowed. I mean, at halftime, the Thunder were lucky to be down 4. The bench from the Pacers was dominating OKC. I mean, they got to a 15-0 start in bench points compared to OKC. Indiana was excellent defensively, and that carried true all game long. I mean, all game long, Indiana was great defensively. They answered every single Thunder run. You're down 4 with SGA not having his best stuff, with J-Dub needing to be a lot better, with the inbounds that were too embarrassingly bad turnovers on the inbound for OKC, which then parlayed into 3 at the end of the game with your veteran, with your stabilizer, with your champion on your roster giving it away. Like, that stuff cannot happen, and the Thunder were only down 4 with the Pacers being in foul trouble. Siakam, Nembhard, Nesmith all had 3 fouls at halftime, and the Thunder came out of the intermission like gangbusters. They came out and erased that deficit and got back on track, got the lead, and you felt like, okay, this can be a moment here. This can be an opportunity for Oklahoma City, but yet every single time that Oklahoma City made a run from 15-6 to start the game to 6-0 out of halftime, the Pacers answered the call every single time. And it goes back to what the lessons that the Thunder talked about after Game 2 was: you have to learn how to compete for 48 minutes. The Thunder did not compete for 48 minutes tonight. The Thunder did not throw punches for 48 minutes tonight. The Thunder were behind the 8 ball a lot. They were playing on their heels a lot. And they got out-thundered tonight. I mean, Indiana did things that you would expect the Thunder to do. On top of the Thunder's offense stalling out in the fourth quarter, their defense was playing with their hair on fire in Indiana. I mean, the Pacers' defense was electrifying. Not only did they force Shai to play in a crowd, force him to give the ball up, but when we say that, we oftentimes think of like, oh, well, they don't care if these alternative players are beating them. It couldn't be further from the truth in this sense, right? Like, where Shai would give the ball up and they'd close out hard to whoever he was passing it to. You look at Lou Dort's threes and like the flybys where he gets a flyby, has another guy running at him. He still ends up making it, but it's like, that's a difficult shot. You look at Chet, that Chet got really aggressive. He got really forceful in the first quarter. Indiana did not let him do that for 48 minutes. You look at J-Dub, he had a great third quarter. Indiana did not let him do that for 48 minutes. And Indiana's defense deserves all of the credit in the world for out-thundering the Thunder. Indiana was the first to the ball. They forced the issue, and they looked like the more desperate team. They looked like they had more juice tonight. That just cannot happen in the NBA Finals, not at this stage, not as the favorites, not as the better team. That just cannot happen. The Thunder got out-executed, out-hustled, out-poised, outplayed. The Thunder had no business winning this game, and they didn't. And now you head into a situation where you have to win Game 4, because this team, if they go down 3-1, for as great as they've been, they're not going to win this series. I mean, I know that 3-1 comebacks are more in vogue nowadays in the modern NBA, but 3-1 against this Pacers team for their knack of winning close games is not an option for Oklahoma City. And that historic season, the historic ride that this has been rests on Game 4. It rests on Game 4. And to the Thunder's credit, they've been great at responding to adverse situations like this. However, this team, the next hurdle this team has to clear, whether they win the NBA Finals or not, because I think that we can get lost in the fact that they're here, right? You can get lost in the glitz and the glamour of, well, this team's already in the finals. This team is still in its infancy stages of becoming whoever or whatever they're going to be, which could be a dynasty, which could be a missed opportunity, a missed era, right? It could be anything. It's still a mystery box for what the Thunder are and will be. And the one thing that they need to exclusively change in the future is that, yes, they're good at responding. That can't be, right, their best pitch, though. Their best pitch can't be, hey, we're really good when our backs are against the wall. We're really good when we're down 2-1 in a series. We're really good when we have to win a game. You've got to go from being responders to tone setters. This was a game that you set a tone. You come in here into the Gamebridge Fieldhouse, into the Hoosier State, and you win a Game 3 and go up 2-1. You've set a tone. You've set a bar as a 68-win team. You've set the expectation of winning this series. You come in here and you lose it, you've given brand new life to the underdog Cinderella story that's been great since January 1st as a truly elite team, even though they get talked about as if they are that Cinderella story in March, and a team that doesn't need a confidence boost and that has an extra home game to try to go up 3-1. Like, you've got to be able to play with that sense of desperation that Indiana played with tonight, even whenever your back's not against the wall. And this has been a trend for OKC. You look at how they salvaged Game 2 against Denver after giving away Game 1 with that blowout win. And everyone is, including myself, is celebrating the tenaciousness of this team and the stick-to-itiveness and the response. But then in Game 3, you drop that game on the road, and it was a lot of these same factors where you're just getting out-executed. You're getting out-efforted, right? And effort is kind of a blanket way to say the hustle plays. The hustle plays went against OKC in this game, and the hustle plays I don't think will go against OKC in Game 4, because whenever they lock in and play with their hair on fire and play like there is no tomorrow, they're the 68-win team. They're the juggernaut that they've been promised to be. They've got to find a way to hone in on that, even when things are going great for them. And there's been spots where they have done that, right? There's Game 5 against Denver where they were able to get that win after winning Game 4 and kind of compile the wins to swing that series was huge. They also had to respond to adversity in Game 5 against Denver at home, but still, they got the win after another win, kind of stacking wins on themselves. I thought that they did it really well against Minnesota, where they won Game 2, and then they end up winning the series in 5 to really close them out after responding in Game 3. They won Games 4 and 5. They've got to do that more consistently, though. They've got to be able to not be forced into a corner to start fighting back, to start throwing punches. And that's something that they're going to learn throughout this process. And if they can learn it while winning a championship, even better. But I think that that's a tangible thing that you can point to when people ask, like, what do you mean battle scars? What do you mean learning the lessons? What do you mean that it's uncommon for young teams to win? I think that Game 3 was a reason why it's so uncommon young teams win. And I know that Indiana doesn't have this long history of being in the NBA Finals, but this is a team that when you're splitting hairs, when you're trying to find who has the emotional and experiential edge, they have a head coach that's been to the finals 6 times. They have Pascal Siakam, who's an NBA champion. They have a core that's gone to back-to-back Eastern Conference finals and has won one, and now they're here in the NBA Finals. This team is a very battle-tested team, and again, it's a low bar to clear, a little bit more adverse challenged and adverse battled through and tested than OKC. So the Thunder have to be able to find that desperation even when things are going good. And the reality of this game is, we're going to get into all that went wrong for OKC. The reality of this game is, it goes back to the Steve Nash quote that's been tossed around here in Indiana for the last few days. Like, when you win a game in the playoffs, you never feel like you're ever going to lose again. And when you lose a game in the playoffs, you never feel like you're ever going to win again. It's going to be a long series. And I pick Thunder in 6. That's still mathematically possible. Obviously, you would change that to Thunder in 7 now. But, when you look at how this series is shaping up, it's kind of shaping up the exact way that we predicted on the show, in the sense of what we were watching for. We were watching for the coaching battle. We were watching for who can have more of the others step up, in the sense of who can get more from their role players. And Indiana's bench with Ben Mathurin and TJ McCollum, TJ McCollum did that. Like TJ and Ben Mathurin, if the Pacers win this series, will never in their life ever have to pay for a single thing in Indiana ever again. Like, because of what they did tonight. They'll be unforgettable folk heroes in Indiana because of what they did tonight. And you've got to have some of your complementary players step up and do the same thing. You've got to have some of your complementary players step up and help you win in this way. But in terms of this 48-minute game and honing in on what we saw tonight, Indiana played the exact way that OKC typically does. They were the better defensive team tonight. They forced OKC into bad shots. They forced OKC into turnovers. They won fast break points. They won the possession battle. OKC had one make in the final 5 minutes. Like, the Pacers did exactly what the Thunder typically do to teams. They out-executed, out-efforted, out-hustled this Thunder team, on top of what we already said. And this game was played within 10 points the entire game. Neither team grew a lead larger than 9 points, with 9 ties and 15 lead changes. And in the battle of a clutch performance and the battle of a back-and-forth affair, the Thunder don't have experience in this setting in any capacity in the regular season or in the postseason. And I'm not somebody who thinks that they should have, they should have played more clutch time games, because that inherently means that they should have purposefully gotten themselves in tight jams just to work out of them. I don't believe that's a thing, but it is a real thing that they haven't had to do this a ton, and that they're still trying to navigate their way through it. You would never kind of hope to lose a game that you won, or win a game by 20 and try to win it instead by 5. Like, that just kind of how the course of the season went. But it's still an example of these Pacers have been excellent in the clutch. They've done the clutch game nonstop throughout the postseason, throughout the regular season, and they're comfortable in this environment. And this Thunder team looked uncomfortable in the clutch. They looked uncomfortable down the stretch of this game, and their offense was putrid down the stretch of this game. Even as the Thunder win the rebounding battle by 11, they lost the turnover battle by 4, and they won the rebounding battle, but lost second chance points. Indiana capitalized better off of turnovers. They capitalized better off of second chance opportunities, and they were able to get this win by not shooting better from 3. It wasn't the great equalizer we thought it would be in this series, the Pacers 3-point shot. Indiana took your lunch money in the paint tonight. I mean, they truly did everything the Thunder typically do. They took your lunch money in the paint. Even though they shot 33% from 3, they still beat you, and you just had no recourse for this Indiana defense. Coming up, more Indiana adjustments. The Thunder had Chet Holmgren and J-Dub go off separately. How can they play more complementary? And what happened to SGA tonight? But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Game Time, go check out Game Time today, because Game Time is awesome, and there's nothing like the NBA Finals. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchup is already delivering. And what better way to get on the action than with Game Time? It makes it fast and easy to go get tickets. Even for the biggest playoff games, prices on the app usually drop closer to tip-off with killer last-minute deals, dynamic pricing, of course, to get you those last-minute deals. They have a panoramic view from your seat, no surprise fees. Game Time is a total game changer. Go check it out today at Game Time right now, where you're going to find great seats available for as low as $100, thanks to the exclusive discounts. And with Game Time guarantee, your tickets are 100% authenticated and there for you on time at the best prices, with free with fees included. So whenever you go and see a price you like, you're going to make sure that you still like the price, because the fees are already baked in there. Go download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, Game Time app today, create your account, use code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Go download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time, lowest prices guaranteed on last-minute tickets. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. This should have been the Chet Holmgren story and the Lou Dort story, and instead It was not, because Chet Holmgren looked the part in the first quarter. I mean, he was looking to score at every possible avenue. He was slicing through the lane exceptionally well. He was demanding the shot once he got the ball and was found on good rolls, good cuts, and he had 10 points in 6 minutes. He attacked Obi and forced the foul, and he did a great job all night, really, of getting to the free throw line. 8 for 9 at the free throw line. 9 free throw attempts from Chet Holmgren is what you want. And even his 3-point misses kind of looked in rhythm. He didn't hesitate. He wanted that opportunity. He was more forceful with how he was playing in this game, especially comparatively to game 1. And it kind of all unraveled on him, because it unraveled on the entire Thunder offense. He, in the fourth quarter, while he wasn't making shots, he did have a big time rebound at the 1:30 mark to give OKC one last chance at a comeback that they couldn't complete. But when you look at his cutting off ball and his ability to score around the rim when he's getting downhill, it is encouraging for your number 3 option. It is encouraging that he was able to have 20 points and 10 rebounds. But the one area where you didn't get enough from him was the 3-point line, where he's 0 for 6. And look, 3-point shots are obviously volatile. There's a great shot variance game to game, night to night, player to player. But if he hits some of these threes, it loosens up Indiana's defense even a little bit and just helps everybody else. And so that's where you can start to play complementary basketball. Because if Chet's hitting some threes and it's at all bending Indiana's defense, it makes life easier on SGA, it makes life easier on J-Dub. So Chet could have been better. He ends up shooting 40% from the floor, but the 9 free throw attempts are really encouraging from him. Shai, I think in this game, saw exactly what Tony and I described on the crossover. He got on a heater there at the end of the second quarter, but they were forcing Shai to hit some incredibly tough shots. And they were forcing Shai to play in a crowd and either make those shots or force others to beat them. And, if Lou Dort is going to hit a billion triples, well, so be it. And Lou Dort did his job from 3. But when they forced him to give it up, and especially in that fourth quarter where they had guys pressuring him nonstop, from the 94-foot mark on, they had guys pressuring him, they had guys in his jersey, and it was just uncomfortable for him to the point where he takes 3 shots in the fourth quarter. That's where the Thunder are going to have a hard time being able to play consistent offense. That's where the Thunder are going to have a hard time getting into a rhythm, because Shai is your half-court offense. Shai is your score. When you couple what the Pacers made Shai do offensively, which was only turned into a ho-hum, 24 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. He had 45% shooting from the floor and 1 for 3 from 3 with 3 shots in the fourth. That's a massive win for Indiana. And then when you look what Indiana did on the adjustment from Shai, it was not just defensively. Defensively, I thought that they were perfect against Shai. I thought what Indiana did offensively of seeking out SGA every single time on the floor defensively was a brilliant decision. And it's not because Shai is some horrific defender, although obviously he's not the point of attack defender that you want on this team defending the ball, because this team is littered with high-level point of attack defenders. But Indiana noticed in real time how willing that the Thunder were to give up switches. And I have no idea why. That the Thunder did not fight harder on screens. And that was a big part of what undid them tonight. But Shai looked gassed at the end of this game because the Pacers put him in every single action. So he's working way harder defensively. They're making him work way harder offensively. And he's having to exert so much that there's nothing left to give at the end of this game. And that's where the Thunder have to protect Shai, not because he's some horrific defender. Although, again, I'm saying it's a great mismatch, but he's not a horrific defender. You have to protect him to protect your offense, because the Thunder got Shai out of there and they stole 50 seconds of rest at the end of quarter 3. They got the long quarter break, and then they left him on the bench to start the fourth quarter, which I thought was a bit puzzling after you take him out early. And he comes back in at the 9:55 mark after that challenge, which was another stoppage and another break. And he just ran out of gas. because of what the Pacers were able to do to him with their offense. But a big reason why the Thunder lost this game was turnovers, and Shai had 6 of them. Shai had 6 turnovers. When you look at the turnover battle tonight, Shai had 6 and J-Dub had 4. And these are guys who throughout the entire season we've been praising as players who do not give it away, as a team who does not give it away. And all the credit in the world goes to Indiana for forcing the Thunder to get outside of their identity, for forcing the Thunder to play the exact opposite of what makes them great. What makes the Thunder great is dominating the mid-range and the paint. Couldn't do it tonight. What makes the Thunder great is not turning the ball over. Couldn't do it tonight. What makes the Thunder great is their defense, and their defense was not great tonight. So the Thunder have to try to find a way to get back on track against these Pacers. And Jalen Williams, I thought he was going to have a big game 3. He had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, steal, 50% from the floor, 1 for 2 from 3, 7 for 11 at the free throw line, and 4 turnovers. And you have to wonder a few things. One, what's the risk situation for J-Dub? Because he's never been an elite ball handler, but he's also never been a sloppy ball handler and a sloppy decision maker, and now all of a sudden he is. So then you wonder if the risk is playing a part in that, on top of how great Indiana played defensively. But the 7 for 11 at the free throw line, this was the best free throw shooting team in the NBA in the regular season, and we're yet again sitting here talking about free throws. We're yet again sitting here talking about how they let up 7 points on the board on the free throw line. They left them on the free throw line in an 8-point game. Like, the fact that this team cannot make their free throws is jarring. It's inexplainable. Like, maybe J-Dub's wrist is affecting his free throws. Maybe the moment's too big. I don't know what it is. Mark was asked about it after the game. He won't say what it is. No one knows what it is. They're just missing free throws. So you quickly add up all the different ways that this Thunder team did not play well tonight, and you quickly see why they probably should have got beat by a lot more. And if Indiana shot better from 3, they would have been beat by a lot more. They had no business winning this game. They had no chance winning this game. You do not win games in the NBA Finals against a great team playing with turnovers, playing with bad defense, playing with porous offense. You just don't. And that's what the Thunder did tonight. It's not what they're going to do in Game 4, hopefully for their sake. It's not what you expect them to do in Game 4. But yeah, I mean, I'm here to tell you, if you say that the Thunder repeat these problems in Game 4, they're going to lose Game 4. And if they do it in Game 5, they're going to lose Game 5. Like, it kind of goes without saying. Like, this team did not deserve to win tonight. They had no reason to win tonight. And they've got to fix it. And they either will or won't. I can't tell you if they're going to win or if they're going to do it or not. I think that they'll respond because they've responded all year. But that's why they play the games. That's why they play the games. And I thought that J-Dub, really turned his night around at the end of the second quarter, where he had that massive 3. He had a massive and 1. Then he had a massive 3 at the buzzer. But the third quarter was awesome from J-Dub, but it was too inconsistent. And I think that on top of the rest, there's also some things about his game that will continue to get better as time goes on. Like, when you see the flashes of him bumping his shoulder into a guy to create space and rise up for a wide open midi, like, he's got to learn how to use his body effectively and consistently. Right now, there's just little glimmers of it. There's little glimmers of him finishing through contact at the rim. There's little glimmers of him bumping guys off their spot. But it's not an every possession thing. It's not something that you feel like is going to happen when he's going down the floor every single time. It's something that can happen. It's not something that you expect to happen. That's got to change for him moving forward. And for the Thunder to win a title, it's got to change for him moving forward, as in like Game 4. But long term, it's also going to change for him. Is more consistency. So I think that when you look at this game, there's obviously a lot of ways to be frustrated about it. But, if they respond in Game 4, then everything switches and does a whole 180. And there's also a little element of, I've been playing the party pooper all year long. I've been saying that, I don't know, can you get enough from these 2 3-year guys, and one of the quote unquote 3rd-year guys is really a 1.5-year guy. He's really played a 1.5 year of NBA basketball. Can you really get enough to win a championship? And if I told you in October that they'd lose in the NBA Finals, you'd be saying that's a great season for these young Thunder. But then you got here and you believed people who hadn't watched the Pacers all year long say that this is going to be the worst NBA Finals of all time and a lopsided Finals, and now you felt kind of entitled to win it. Like, the Pacers are a great team, and you cannot play this way against a great team. I mean, the Pacers have been a great team for 75% of the season. The Thunder have to fix it. The Thunder have to avoid one of the upsets that will be referenced for all time. Like, when you think of upsets, you think of the We Believe Warriors. You think of the Dallas Mavericks over the Miami Heat. You'll start to think of the Indiana Pacers over the Oklahoma City Thunder if the Indiana Pacers close this out. But games 4 and 5 are must-wins. Games 4 and 5 are absolutely must-wins for the Thunder to win this championship and win this NBA Finals and win their first championship. How they handle that expectation, how they handle that pressure, will decide how we view this 68-win season. Whether it's right or wrong, that's the reality. And I could sit here and try to be the voice of reason all summer, and I will. It's not going to matter. Like, that's how the season's going to be viewed. It's going to come down to these two games. And that's what makes all of this fun. That's what makes all of this must-see TV. That's what makes all of this have peak intrigue. Coming up, we'll talk about Lou Dort. We'll talk about the Pacers' adjustments. We'll talk about what to expect moving forward. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Wayfair, go check out Wayfair today. There's nothing like stepping up and moving into a new space, whether it's a literal new home or reinventing your current home, reinventing your current space. And right now, it's summertime. You might want to spend more time outside on the patio, but you look around and say, I really need some new, more comfortable patio furniture. Wayfair has made it easy for you to turn any space into something that feels like yours, where it feels comfortable, it feels stylish, it feels ready for the summer. Wayfair is everything you need to level up your outdoor space. You can make sure that you go get fire pits and hot tubs and jacuzzis, and you can go get outdoor bars even. Yeah, yes, it has perfect string lighting to set up and give you a perfect vibe for your backyard to feel like a resort without the resort price tag. Go check it out today because delivery is free, fast, and totally hassle-free. Make sure you check out today at wayfair.com right now to shop for a huge outdoor selection. Do not wait. Make sure that you get in right now so that we can have this all summer long and enjoy it at Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Look, we said it all week and all series. If Lou Dort kills you, you tip your cap to him. He tried to kill the Indiana Pacers tonight. I mean, the fly-by threes that went in tonight, the odds say shouldn't have because of how great this Pacers defense was. I just can't even begin to describe. Anthony Edwards talked about the Thunder being puppets on a string. To the Thunder's credit, they've done it for a larger sample size than Indiana. But Indiana tonight were puppets on a string, just flying everywhere, where they're somehow swarming Shai and getting out to contest threes while running guys off the line, while forcing Lou Dort into a mid-range shot, which is also contested. It's like the Pacers did everything perfect tonight. Everything perfect tonight. But you've gone 0-2 in the Lou Dort games. Like the Lou Dort games where he's hitting 4 threes and he's playing well offensively, you're 0-2 in this series. That's going to come back to bite you, the odds say. And that's just the reality of it. Because you don't know. I mean, Lou Dort's an inconsistent player. He's a streaky shooter. You've gotten a game from Caruso, from Wiggins, and 2 from Lou, and you're 1-2 in this series. We'll see what happens moving forward, but Lou Dort deserves credit tonight because this, again, could have been worse because of all that we've talked about for 25 minutes, but Lou's threes made it to where it's at least a game that was close down the stretch. But much like the rest of the Thunder offense, nobody was good in the final frame. This is a series where you've been beaten the fourth quarter. Just annihilated in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you can talk about how they gave away game 1. They gave away in game 1 because they were the worst team in the fourth quarter. They lost this game because they were the worst team in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is where you win championships. This team has not won a championship and is now behind the 8 ball to win a championship because they've lost 2 fourth quarters. So all the ebbs and flows, all the miscues, all the mishaps in quarters 1, 2, and 3 led you to quarter 4, where you did not take care of business in 2 of the 3 games. That has to change if you want this season to change. Off the bench tonight, I thought that was a big difference. Isaiah Joe had back-to-back threes, but you lost the bench points 49-18. Wiggins didn't have it. Caruso was held in check. Ihart had 4 points. Nobody popped. Nobody was awesome. 49-18 on the bench. And the crossover, Tony East asked me if I expected the Thunder to win the bench battle by the margin that they had in games 1 and 2. I said no. Indiana is capable of having Ben Mathurin and TJ go off, and TJ McConnell was incredible. His energy on defense completely changed this game. His table setting to probe through the Thunder defense completely changed this game. And, it makes sense that the comparisons today will be about how TJ Alex Caruso'd the Thunder, because he did. Ben Mathurin killed the Thunder. Killed them. And this was not a PJ Washington situation. Ben Mathurin, hit tough shots. Yes, did he capitalize on open looks? He certainly did. But he also hit some insanely tough shots. He was one of the best players on the floor tonight. He was awesome. They made the Thunder pay for every single switch, and they found every single mismatch, and the Thunder let them. The Thunder welcomed them too. Therese Halliburton loved that Caruso matchup. He loved the way the Thunder were trying to work screens because they were taking a step off of Halliburton. And to me, that's not the problem. I know that a lot of people are upset about going under screens or being a step behind Halliburton while Halliburton's at the three-point line. To me, that's good positioning because of his shot. His shot is susceptible to, you can be a step back from Halliburton so long as you're competitive in the closeout. And the Thunder were not competitive in the closeout. They were not quick in the closeout. They were flat-footed instead of being athletic, right? They weren't on the balls of their feet, so to say. They were on the heels of their feet. And it went from you're playing under screens, but you can still contest, to you're playing under screens and he's going to kill you. He's going to murder you. And he did. Pascal Siakam, aggressive early. They trusted those entry passes to him, and he used his leverage to bend the Thunder's defense to where now you're forcing everything to shade towards him, and it opens things up for Indiana. And you just cannot say enough about their defense tonight. You really can't. But Indiana did everything right. The Thunder did hardly anything right. And then that's where you get to this point. But look, role players play better at home. We typically say that as in shoot better at home, but they played better today. They are the more poised team. Their role players were more under control, and Therese Halliburton delivered tonight. And I mean, you look at how this went down. It's going to be crucial that the Thunder continue to respond in Game 4. And the Thunder have responded. I mean, they responded against Denver. They responded after getting blown out against Minnesota. They responded after losing Game 1 to these Indiana Pacers. But now you got to do it on the road. Now you got to do it in an uncomfortable environment. Now you got to do it against a team that has never felt closer to a championship, never felt this edge and confidence boost ever. And now Indiana has to play with that sort of fire of, trying to manufacture desperation with a Thunder team that has it built in, with a Thunder team that should have it built in, and has proven to play well while being behind the 8 ball. They've got to do it again. We have so much stuff coming out for you over the next few hours, because we're gonna have a crossover with Tony East. We're gonna have Derek Parker talking the series, talking draft as well. We'll try to have Nick Crane as well. We could have 3 pods before tip-off of game number 4. So make sure you stay alert for that by subscribing to Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from, including on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, etc. Follow me on Twitter at Ryland_Stiles. And until next time, be good and be good to one another.